Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and checking out our show this week. Oh my goodness. We have been racing and dodging and shooting and being inundated. And it's all thanks to our GM, Kevin. Kevin, what's going to go on this week on Drifters?
Well, last time
on Critical Hit.
On Drifters. You guys had gone through the Rift Spires, a set of winding canyons that were primed to be blown up and used as weapons against your fellow drifters as you are racing through the Adio Rift on the red planet of Akaton. You were just about to exit the rift, and you saw a vast junk heap ahead of you, and that is where we had left off. So.
Oh, great. So do we have to drive through this junkyard, or is this a time where we can stop and fix up our vehicle?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to you. Of course, it is a race, so you want to kind of get through it as quickly as possible.
What? I thought we were so far ahead this was the point where we could stop and take a nap.
You're thinking
you
of Bugs
didn't finish
Bunny
the
cartoon.
whole tortoise and the hare story, did you?
Oh, okay. I mean, I just figured race was over. Guy just stopped to take a nap.
And everything worked out great for Rabbit.
Okay. So we have a junkyard.
Yes. So, a set of camera bots is following you. They are pretty nosy. And, some of them try to get close-ups, but then Quentin shoos them away. But then they take the wide-angle shot to show you guys exiting the canyon. And then they cut back to the silver swoosh desk that has our announcers. Welcome once again to the 27th season of Drifters, the Galaxy's Infosphere show that has more legal rights and fewer legal responsibilities than any known sentient life form. I'm your host, Jock Hammer, joined by Shulai, and may I say that you are entrancing to behold. Literally an entrancing mandala of tentacles. I don't consider that appropriate, Jock. For your indiscretion, you will sit slack-jawed while I assume your duties. What I do find appropriate is the wanton violence and destruction that is sure to unfold as our teams enter an area known as the Scrap Heap and do battle not only with each other, but also a scrappy band of local scavengers. But first, a word from our sponsors. And it goes to a human man dressed in a white lab coat robe, and it's covered in various stains, some of which appear to be blood. And he's in a dank, dark basement facility that has, like a Jacob's ladder and all sorts of beakers and vials, several of which have things moving or swimming within them. And he's meticulously cleaning a set of surgical implements. This time he pulls out like a big cleaver, and it pulls out a rag that's covered in blood and cleans it off as he turns to the camera. Are you the dummy in your group? Are they all laughing at you? Ha ha ha! At the Academy for your radical ideas. For who's laughing now, Chad? At Loboverm, we specialize in taking what you are. A witless fool, a bumbling nincompoop, a pathetic moron with no friends. and turning you into a massive success, a giant in your field, with a raging hard intellect. The procedure is quite painless. Oh, it's like 1,000 laser needles eating my childhood memories! In that you will remember nothing. The hideous brain eels have been found and harvested from somewhere. It doesn't matter. What matters is you could be brilliant. Join me and together we will show them all with Loboworm, legitimate brain enhancement. Go team brain power. And then it cuts back to our crew. The crew of the Squeaky Clean on the Sandskink Team Lizard Brain as you guys are racing into the scrap heap. So you're exiting the rift spires and the canyon widens out. Like I said, surrounded by camera bots so they get that nice wide angle view. And you have some more room to maneuver. You're in the lead currently, so you don't see any of your rival teams yet. And it looks like visibility will be low once you actually enter this area because the canyon floor is now covered in debris. It's filled with like derelict spaceships, abandoned mining vehicles, and crashed satellites. Most look ancient, but it's hard to tell while you're moving at this speed. Plus, they look like they've been picked over a good deal. There are tracks through the rubble that show signs of other vehicles passing through. One ship is significantly larger than all the others that are crashed, hundreds of meters in length, and has a vaguely arachnid appearance, though several of its legs have come off at some point. Two of its legs form an arcing canopy over the canyon, roughly 100 meters off the ground at its apex. So you're in the shade a little bit. In the scattered remains, you can make out sheet metal shanty houses, though they seem quite small. They're covered in vulgar and physically evocative graffiti. A large billboard, formerly for a Thasteron mining town, has been emblazoned on it in glowing spray paint scrawl, totally misspelled, "Welcome to the Scrap Heap." And then below that, it says, "Humies and Longlegs die here."
What's a humie?
I believe it's a human.
Vangie just points at Hecubino. From I guess what we know of Akaton, and have we heard of this place, or do we know who or what lives here?
Sure. Why don't you guys give me culture checks?
Ooh.
Sure.
Ooh,
And
something I'm good at.
you guys, the Akaton natives can get a +2 bonus to it.
Cool. I have a 21.
I have a 4.
Cool. So I'm going to start telling Vangie what she knows, because that's good enough. Yeah, so there's all sorts of weird salvage or scavenger operations around the planet. But this one, you haven't run across it before, but based off of the terminology they're using, you would guess that these are a roving band of space goblins.
Oh boy. Do I know anything specific about what space goblins are like?
So space goblins are sometimes tinkers, sometimes scroungers, often quite ingenious and inventive, though decidedly pragmatic. They are, a whole people, so to paint with one brush would be a little reductive, but the ones inhabiting a scrap heap like this, they're crazy. They're fearless. They are probably out to loot your ships or vehicles in this case, and they tend to be run by the smartest or strongest in their bunch, as a little moving, roving band. So,
all right. So Vanga will say, "Space goblins, keep a watch out. They'll probably have maybe traps, or they're tinkerers, and they're gonna try to kill us and take our ship."
Great.
Keep guns hot.
Why do they want to kill us?
So that they can take
to take
the
thing,
vehicle and tear it apart and, I don't know, build stuff with it.
Okay.
so what do you guys do?
Drive on.
All right,
what-
you
yeah,
drive
what
on
state-
into. I'm sorry.
What state is the sand skank in? It's still
Kansas.
pretty well put together, right?
That's a good question. How beat up has the Sandscape gotten, Stephen?
Well, let us take a look here. As we look at the squeaky clean, we see that right now its hit points are 22 of 30. So it has taken some damage, not a whole lot. Right now, being in first place, we do share some bonuses to hardness. No, that's a popularity bonus, sorry, because we're so popular at the moment. Yeah, we're doing okay, but we did get hit pretty hard a couple of times.
Are these the kind of repairs that maybe Bob could do as we're driving, or do we need to stop?
Repairs while driving are the most fun kind of repairs.
That's true, and they make for good TV. So if we're not even below half, I would say we probably should keep going.
Yep. All right. So you guys start going through the scrap heap. You have to make lots of twists and turns, and there's big piles of junk or burned out old vehicles, a massive mining drill, stuff like that. So you quickly lose sight of the entrance you guys came in. Though whoever's in the back, or maybe whoever has scanners, you might notice there are actually several entrances from the rift spires into this little section. So it's possible that one of your competitor teams might enter from a different area and take a totally different path through this. So you are proceeding through, and we're going to shift our scale. So instead of tracking the vehicle at the size of a vehicle, we're going to track it where we can put the actual minis of our characters on there. So I'm going to distribute them. Who is driving? I believe that's Bob.
Correct.
All right. Who is at the turret gun?
I'm still at the turret gun. Yeah.
Okay. And then where is everybody else?
I'm attached to the back of the turret gun last I checked.
Fair enough.
I think I was the last one to fire
I'm
the rear
attached to the side of the vehicle last time I checked.
Which side?
Right side.
Your right or my right?
I know. I just had to do which one is my right hand moment. Okay.
Make the little L's with your thumbs.
And then how about Hecubino?
I will probably be shotgun.
Okay. And Skritic.
I think I was at the rear gun last I knew.
Rear gun.
Yeah.
So Skritic, the rear, Hecubino in shotgun, Bob manning the wheel, Vangie at the turret gun, Quentin on top of the turret gun to the back, and Amu clinging to the side with various coral
Appendages.
polyps. And you are entering the scrap heap from this side. What speed are you guys going? Your options are really slow, like about to slow down and stop for repairs, ludicrous speed, and absolutely ridiculous speed.
I think we're just going ludicrous
Plaid.
speed.
Okay. Normal ludicrous speed.
Normal
Gotcha.
ludicrous speed, which is 5, but not
Great.
on this.
So, as you proceed, coming out from the tunnels and crevices in the sides of the rift, and then from all the various compartments and vehicles and little hidden alcoves in the scrap heap, come dozens of creatures, roughly 3 feet tall, many wearing glass fishbowl helmets with an enormous, for their size, green hairless head and sharp little fangs and pointed ears.
Apart from that, they have very little in common with one another. Some have cybernetic limbs. Others wear eye patches with scanners attached to them. Some are dressed in basically rags covered in just random patches with mismatched boots and cobbled together like lasers, tasers, spikes that are covered in more spikes, and the like. They are driving an even more motley assembly of vehicles, all evidently jury-rigged together in a way that even the most dubious corporate assembly line foreman would grimace at. These vehicles are clearly made from the scraps scavenged from the nearby wrecked vessels, and they show signs of being, some of them show signs of being two or more vehicles just smashed together, like a tank car or a ship with little a ship that has lost the ability to enter the atmosphere, but they just keep it at a really low altitude. And
or a bumper car that's also a sailboat.
Exactly. And some of them look like, a working part from a vehicle has been removed to somehow just make a standalone motorized conveyance of its own. There are several of these basically goblin one-wheelers that are a wheel and a motor and a goblin strapped to it. And they start flooding the area, coming from all around you, but they seem to be in pursuit. So you are being chased by a malignity of space goblins.
Well, at least now we know what a group of goblins are called.
Yeah, right?
All right. Cool. So in order to save time, we're going to use the same initiatives from last time, but this time you're not up against the tripod of doom, the basilisk, and the colonizer. You're up against space goblins. So we will start with Skritic. And I'm going to put a couple of these small ones that are obviously a goblin riding something. These are all what are called junk cycles. So they're a motorcycle or one of those one-wheelers. These are really flimsy-looking things that are still super fast because they definitely have no safeties, and they have like one or two space goblins attached. Those are the closest to getting you, while a small fleet of other vehicles and goblins start pouring out. So I've put a few of those on the board.
All right, I'll take aim at the closest one and let loose with the gun I'm at.
All right, so the gun you're at, I believe, is the plasma cannon?
Sounds right.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and make an attack roll?
Okay, a 20 to hit. Dirty 20.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to hit. So you connect with one of these. Why don't you roll the damage for the plasma cannon, which is 2d10.
2d10, yep.
Yep, 2d10 electricity and fire damage.
Ooh, 20 again.
Nice. So why don't you describe what happens? You hit, and to be clear, you hit and you vaporize this one. So you can describe it however you want.
I think maybe I hit a little low. Basically, making a crater just under it, where it basically topples forward, head over heels, and just goblin and motorbike parts just go flying every which way.
Great. Yeah. So, this is a plasma cannon, and you just were not expecting how much power this thing had. So, yeah, you just blast a hole into the earth, and, the whole junk cycle careens into it, and the goblin goes flying and smashes his this one's wearing a helmet, some aren't. Smashes his head up against one of the crates, and the glass shatters, but the goblin lives because he was wearing a helmet. We'll be following that particular goblin for the rest of the game. No. All right. So one action, one down. Anything else, Skritic?
I think that's it for now.
All right. So your rear gunner has your back, Bob. What do you do in the pilot's seat?
I'm going to drive and try to swerve around as much of that junk as I possibly can, and trying to stay as far away from these locals as I possibly can.
Well, those are that's an interesting set of goals, but you kind of have to make some decisions. So, are you going to accelerate because they're accelerating towards you?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I think we can. I think we can accelerate. If I go up to full speed, which is plaid, according to Rob. So are we still technically? I mean, we're off road, right?
Yes.
And we're
This
still in the
definitely counts
first position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we get a +4 to that, -2 at full speed, and another +2 to piloting. No, that's when we're in first position.
So I think you take a just a net -2 penalty, or not net, a -2 penalty for going full speed, and you have a total of +4 bonus, so you're at net +2.
All right, and we'll roll some piloting and see where we. That's a 26. 26 +2 is 28.
Nice. So you're making this look easy, Bob. What you're drifting through all of these wreckage, all this wreckage, and all these derelict spaceships and all that stuff. Anything that you want to do to describe your action?
Yeah. So I'm gonna just play hard and fast with the steering wheel or the steering mechanism on this vehicle. So if there's something in front of us, I'm going to yank that wheel hard to the right and try to swerve that back end around to kick up some dust and debris behind us, and maneuver around all the piles of various bits of junk. If there's a narrow passage, I'll run into the cardboard boxes so the cardboard boxes can go flying up behind us, like you see in the chase movies when they go down the alley.
Quentin, are you rolling? This is good footage.
I'm always rolling.
Except for when we tell you
He's
not
a
to,
ball
stop,
after
to
all.
stop rolling.
Yes, at that point I'm not rolling. La, 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 la. Yes.
Great.
That was all out of character. I don't know if you knew that.
So Bob is making good progress on actually getting you guys through this mess and successfully avoiding the obstacles, but the junk cycles are speeding towards you recklessly. They are heedless of the danger, so they're going to try to follow you. And that's a fun result. 3 out of 4 succeed, while 1 out of the 4 fails disastrously. So when you run through some cardboard boxes, one of the boxes catches a goblin on a junk cycle on its giant head. This one isn't wearing a helmet, and it's like, oh no, I can't see! And it just struggles at trying to control its vehicle with both hands because it's a malformed jet-powered unicycle, and it can't take the cardboard box off of its head, so it smashes into a nearby mining cart, and the guy goes flying.
Hooray.
Failure on their part to follow, because they are not as good a pilot as Bob, or pilots. But the rest of them are fast. So they're upon you, and they are going to try to they're going to try to ram you.
Oh, that won't work.
Yeah, well, they're going to try it.
We'll
We'll see if it works. So your KAC is what?
The KAC of the Squeaky Clean is 17.
Or the sand skink.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Sand Skink is 17.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Ramming is a special rule in vehicles, so it kind of makes it more fun because the pilot gets to kind of like dodge this. So it's less of a KAC thing and more of a set of piloting checks for Bob. So why don't you go ahead and make 3 piloting checks?
All right. Counting in all the other buffs and everything that we have.
Yep.
So let's see. There's an 18 plus 2, so that's a 20. 25 plus 2 is a 27, and another 25 plus 2 is 27.
Whew. So you manage to avoid their collisions, but one of them has 2 goblins. It's actually on a full two-wheel motorcycle, so that's something. Of course, that means they have 2 extra goblins strapped to it, to each side, and they will leap from their cycle onto the sand skink. So you dodge all of their collision attempts, but they have boarded you. Now, coming up from behind is a part tank, part ancient dragster, and the front grille of it is labeled Dreg's Wreck in what is red paint or blood. It's not clear. It's low to the ground. It's wide and has tracks instead of conventional wheels and axles. The top looks more like an old car, stylish, like 50 years ago, but this one is beaten up and checkered with rust and old battle scars. The whole ensemble is finished off with skulls of many species adorning the vehicle on every surface that they could possibly be bolted onto, and long, wavering poles, easily 5 meters high, that are acting as extra seating for goblins because they're holding onto the poles at the top because they're basically just hanging on for dear life. And it is bringing up the rear of this chase.
And what did it say on the...
It said Dreg's Wreck.
Oh, okay. I was going to say in the rearview mirror, does it say something different?
It says...
In the rearview mirror, it says Cruise Guard.
Oh, no, it's the Cruise Guard, everybody. Look out.
You sure it's not the Echnolumba? Because I keep seeing them.
All right. So it is steadily gaining on you. Amu.
We're going to attempt to grapple one of the goblins that's flanking
Skritic. Yeah. So you can step back and you'll be adjacent to the one on the right side of the sand skink. And so you're going to try to grab it? Like to grapple it?
My weapon is a reach weapon that allows me to grapple.
Oh, so it's reach, so you don't even have to move.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, why don't you make your attack roll? And what is your weapon? Describe it if you would.
So Amu grabs a pole off the side of their shell, stretches it out, and it has it's one of those animal captured poles with the little loop at the end, and a sharp point inside that loop.
It sounds painful.
Yeah, it's for injecting.
It's not making me feel better about that weapon.
So I assume this is a melee attack?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
For grappling? Okay. And I assume the goblin is also smaller than me.
That is correct.
Yay! Racial grapple bonus. That'll be a 19.
I never want to mess with a creature with an animal capture pole. That's what the old saying is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you successfully hit. What happens when you hit with this thing? They're grabbed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know
and then
if
do you
they take
have
damage
anything
or
that
not.
you're injecting them with?
I am going to inject them with the basic inhibitor that reduces AC. So they'll take an additional -2 penalty to AC along with the grapple penalty to AC.
Ooh, dang.
Awesome. And then they have to attempt an acrobatic skill check to break free with a difficulty of, let's see here. Well, I can look up the difficulty. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Is there anything else that you do?
No, I think that's the only thing I can get a hold or effectively do right now.
Yep. So it cannot move, take two-handed actions. It takes a -2 penalty to AC and attack rolls, a bunch of other checks, and it squeaks at you. We will not be taken alive! But you seem to be doing just that, so.
That I didn't happen to exceed the KAC by 13.
No.
I didn't think so.
You didn't implode them.
I would pin them at that point.
Quentin, you have a front row seat for this action because it's happening within 5 feet of you. What do you do?
Okay, so 2 creatures have boarded the ship. Amu has immobilized 1. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there are a couple of things I could do.
do an interview with him. Try to catch him off guard.
All right, so these goblins are from
This is my big
Akaton.
moment. I've been waiting my whole life for this. Oh no, it was a ruse. Now I'm dead.
These goblins are from Akaton, right?
You'd have to interview them to ask that. It's possible that they've migrated here in search for a better life, but
I was
doesn't
wondering if
seem
I might
like
be able to figure out what their native language is and broadcast a message of terrible, terrible intimidation in their native tongue.
Goblin.
their native
Can you
tongue
do
is probably
goblinoid?
goblin.
Do I speak Goblin?
Yeah, goblin.
Let's see. I speak everything else.
Do you?
I don't speak Goblin. I have like 9 languages. But I do speak Akatonian.
Well, they probably
Well,
speak that too.
I mean,
No,
they
one just spoke in
probably
common.
speak. What is the standard language called?
Yeah, I mean, they've been
Common.
trash talking us in common or basic or whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
Yeah, no, they've been trash talking you in basic.
Classic
Beep beep
standard.
beep boop beep beep.
It's called basic in Star Wars.
Yeah, no,
Go
that's the
to
weirdest
10.
thing, right?
Print, I am going crazy. Go to 10. Okay, so that won't work. I know what I'll do. I'll electrocute the one that is not being held down with my built-in electrocutioner.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's
that
what I'm
sounds
going to do.
like that.
I'm going to zap one with my frap gun. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to do it in a very, very robot way. I'm not in character tonight, and I really need to go Stanislavski here. Hang on.
Is
I
that a
am
ranged
robot.
attack? Because I think they're threatening you.
That is correct. The one you're targeting would be able to make an attack of opportunity against you should you do that.
Would a melee attack work better?
A melee attack would not provoke.
It depends on what your melee to hit is and such.
Alternatively, you could try to move, but that would probably also provoke.
Or if you have like any type of non-attack action, like I don't know.
No, I mean, one of them is probably unable to
grappled.
attack because he's grappled.
That's correct.
So you would only be risking an attack from one of them. And if they do attack you and hit you, then we'll know what sort of damage these guys are dealing.
It's information gathering.
Quentin, you have so much to consider and so little time to consider it. What do? Do you take a careful, measured action, or do you go with your first impulse and start electrocuting?
I actually have a robot brain, so I can do both. Carefully measure the situation, and then decide to start electrocuting willy-nilly. So I shall blast the one that's not being grappled with my arc welder or my arc pistol.
Excellent. It will attempt to slice you with a little homemade rusty sickle thing.
I am made of quadra-titanium, sir.
What does that quadra-titanium give you as a KAC?
29.
No.
It seems high.
Hang on.
Call.
Sorry, I was looking at my
29. That just so happens to be exactly what I rolled on the die.
I was looking at my AC versus combat maneuvers.
Yeah,
My
combat
KAC
maneuvers,
is an 18.
Yeah.
18. Okay. So you say you're made of quadra-titanium as
Yes.
it hacks at you, and it goes, dogs. Just like someone would say rats, but they seem to hate dogs.
All right, then I shall electrocute his face.
Horses.
Mule muffins. Now, Kevin, I don't know if you're familiar with Critical Hit, but I'm the one who doesn't know anything about the game. So I'm going to attack, but I have not set up my character sheet to where I can just go clickety attack.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what is my attack bonus with the arc pistol weapon? Because I'm looking at this. It says Billy Billy Boo, level 2.
So
I was
look
aware
at
that you didn't necessarily have all of the mechanics 100% down, and that's okay.
You're a level 3 envoy, right?
Yes.
I got
melee
it. I
attack.
got it, guys.
Okay.
So on your character sheet,
Yes.
under saving, so on the right-hand side, there's
Yes.
armor class, then saving throws, then attack
Yes.
bonuses.
There we go. Ranged attack plus 5.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to wake up one of these days. It's going to be awesome. People are going to be like, yeah, that's great. It's okay, Steven. We'll edit that out.
No, we're leaving it in. This is all gold.
All right, so that was clearly a test roll of 7. Let me do the actual roll now.
Okay, that test roll seems to your shot arcs off in the wrong direction. Maybe because of the dog slicer's sickle it has stuck in the joints of your titanium shell, quadra-titanium, excuse me.
How?
So you guys take turns missing each other. How impressive. Then a harmonizing weirdly voice comes from behind you on the dregs wreck. It seems that not in the driver's seat so much as like the throne of this thing, there is a goblin, roughly the same size as these goblins, but it's wearing 2 of these fishbowl helmets, and it's doing that because it has 2 heads. It only has 1 body, but it's got 2 heads, and it's constantly battling to not clink the helmet against its other head. It says to all of its to its space goblins, "Here your heads, honcho! Dopers, make 'em laugh!" And several goblins drop via bungee cables from the legs of the giant arachnid ship that's towering over you. And they time their leaps just perfectly and cut the cables just when there is no resistance left, but before they start to move upwards at all, so they can just land effortlessly. Now, I'm totally kidding. Half of them bounce off the ground and careen in random directions. But they are surprisingly okay with this because they're using... These ones aren't wearing helmets. These ones use a really rubbery skull to absorb most of the damage. But a few of them do manage to land on the buggy, the sand skank. So now you're in real trouble. They are not yet ready to act, but they open up their mouths, and their teeth have all been replaced with metal, like little metal canisters in the where they would have teeth, and they seem ready to chomp on them.
Ooh,
Vangie.
Well, that's extremely messed up. All right, give me a second, because that has changed what I was planning on doing. What with the whole bunch of extra enemies.
You're in what I call a target-rich environment.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of how many things I can hit at once. So I'm looking at my burner, and I'm trying to remember how these work and if I can hit multiple things with this at once. Because I feel like I can. I can't remember exactly though.
What weapon are you talking about?
Huh?
What weapon are you talking about?
My Efreet class burner. I could have, but I realized that I had been looking at.
It's okay. Yeah, no. So, different weapons have different special properties.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can look up.
Oh yeah, it's got line. That's the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a particularly good line for me.
Well, there's a line from Hecubino to the back of the ship, but yeah, you'd need to change places with Hecubino.
Yeah. All right. So what I'm just going to do then is.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to trade places with Hecubino, and kind of push him back to where you are, I will allow it. But it will take Hecubino's reaction.
So I mean, Rodrigo, would you be cool with spending your reaction to swap places with me so I can fry a bunch of these guys at once?
Am I gonna provoke?
Nope. It's only a 5-foot thing, so I'll allow it.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah. In that case,
it will make you.
Hecubino will yell, King's Castle! And I'll swap places with Vangie.
Sweet. Yeah, they make eye contact in a very practiced way. And then as soon as she gets into that position, she will grab the nozzle of the flamethrower that she's got strapped in her back, and she'll yell at these guys and say, "Get off our buggy!" and just open fire.
Great. How long a line does the Ifrit class burner shoot?
That's a really good question. The range is 30 feet, and it has special line. I don't see how long a line that is, but I assume it's a 30 foot line, considering the range.
Well, so Starfinder has all these weapon special properties. That's one of the fun bits of the game, but it also means it's a little bit of stuff to look up. So let's just do that real quick. Up to its range increment. So
Okay.
Cool. So make a single attack roll.
All right, sounds good. Just gonna be my range attack. So yep.
And I assume since this is blasting them with, is it fire or plasma or what is this?
It
blasting?
is fire.
Okay. Then this will be targeting their EACs.
And I've got a 22 to hit.
Great. Well, roll damage once.
10 damage.
10, you said?
Yep, 10 fire damage.
Great. So that will melt the 3 goblins in that line.
Nice.
And it will also catch this junk cycle, but this guy's manages to only get clipped by it, and the cycle starts smoking, and it looks like it's about to fall apart. So as you blast forward with the Ifrit class burner, does Vangie say anything as she connects successfully with all these goblins?
She will blow on the the smoking nozzle of it and be like, "Ifrit class burner, excellent work. Open for further sponsorships."
Nice. You also note that some of the fumes, particularly nearby, are weird smelling. I mean, fortunately, the Ifrit class burner took care of all of that, but there's definitely some noxious gases from the corpses of the goblins that had the strange teeth.
Great.
Yes, great indeed. I agree. Speaking of which, hey, these guys get to act.
Oh no.
The ones with the strange teeth. And they are going to bite down hard on their teeth, and out comes a small cloud of yellow gas. And this one's going to target Amu, and this one's going to target Bob. And why don't you guys give me a fortitude save? Ooh. This is against poison if you have any particular resistance to that.
I might. That's a botch.
Yep, I got a 4. Oh yeah, I rolled a nat 1, so yeah, epic fail.
Yeah.
I got a 13. Checking to see if I've got bonuses against poison.
Well, 13 is actually good enough regardless. So you succeed, but Bob epically fails. So Bob, normally, being a constructed being, you have a resistance to poison and mind-affecting effects and stuff like that. But you somehow just got a full waft of this stuff, and it starts driving your circuits crazy.
It burns. It burns. Get it off. Get it off. Get it off.
But in this case, it after that initial reaction, something else kicks in that maybe goes to Bob's strange emotional states. You feel uncontrollably giggly and start laughing. You can make jokes. You can feel free to participate and say anything, so long as you're always kind of laughing about it. But you can take no other actions right now.
Okay. Haha, just kidding.
All right. And with that, let's see. This little guy who is all tied up in the animal control noose by Amu. He's going to try to get himself free. No. He, all right, so he also epically failed. So, Amu, on a nat 1 from this guy, what do you think? What would you do to him if you could?
Amu's been trying to just pull him off the vehicle.
All right, so you pull. He struggles and says, "You'll never take me alive," and you gently set him down, and then quickly, because you guys are constantly in motion, he just quickly disappears into the past. It's like, no,
Never take me alive. Okay, bye.
So that is one space goblin zapperator less on board the Sand Skink.
Is that their official name, Zapperator?
That's what those ones' names were. These guys are dopers. Those guys were zapperators. These guys are on junk cycles. That's the crew of the Dregs Wreck. The space goblin with 2 heads is called the Heads Honcho.
I would like to move away from the Stinky Cloud Goblin. I'm there between Bob and Quentin, right? Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, I'd like to take up.
Currently at the turret gun for what it's worth.
Yeah, you don't want me firing that. I'll take a 5-foot step away, and so that I'm not adjacent to any goblins, and then I'll take a zap with my taser gun at the one that that gave Bob the giggles.
Nice.
So
Go ahead,
I
make your attack roll.
will. Yep. Let me see. That's a whopping +3 to attack for a 15.
And does that target what weapon is that again?
This is a arc pistol, static.
So it's dealing electricity damage. So it targets their
Yep.
EAC. And go figure, random patchwork overalls and little glass helmets do not protect you against lasers. So you connect.
Okay. Now does my what is it called? That do I get a level bonus to damage?
Yes, because you have weapon specialization. Because all characters have that. Now you get only I believe a +1 bonus to damage because it's a small arm.
Okay, so then yeah, that's already factored into my sheet here. So let's deal 1 whole d6 +1 to it.
Because it's either your level or half your level. Oh,
Yep.
Hey.
For max damage of 7.
So yeah, you static shock this one. Does that deal non-lethal or lethal damage?
I think I can get it to deal non-lethal, but I'm trying to. I went for lethal this time.
Great. You electrocute the one behind Amu and beside Bob, and it goes tumbles over the side, jolting with energy and also bouncing behind you.
Smoking.
If I drop down, is that gonna give me cover in case any of those other guys start firing on us, or can I just get natural cover from being in a different vehicle?
You do get cover from the vehicle in general.
Okay.
You're being fired up from people not on the vehicle.
Okay. Well, then I'm good there, probably.
Sounds good. All right, so it goes back around to where we started. Skritic still manning the plasma cannon, even though a lot has changed since you first emerged into the scrap heap.
Is there any goblins next to me currently, adjacent?
There is one goblin next to you. It is one of the dopers, one of the teeth gas spewers.
Scary. In that case, basically I'll kind of swing the turret towards him as I try to smack him with it, and then as it kind of lurches away from that, I'm gonna leap over it and try to come down with my knife. I try to stabify him.
Great.
Ooh, 24 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Excellent.
Is that 2 damage?
Yeah, that's gonna be not too awesome, but let's see here. 1d4 plus 1. Okay, let's see.
So yeah, I think as an operative, you often want to
Do my
to juke
specials.
first.
do your trick attack, but you went for the catching him off guard and stabbing it in the back with a knife, and it goes, no, I'm going to oh actually I think I'm all right. I think yeah.
I really didn't have a good bluff and my intimidate's not too awesome, or stealth to do, or survival, so I just went with that. But
No worries. The old, Yosoki versus Goblin knife fight.
Knife fight.
Gwen's got a close up on it. That's nice. Bob, what's so funny? Why so-
All these little guys running around. It's like a scene out of a movie.
Aw, Bob seems to be very relaxed and enjoying himself, kicking back as he laughs while he is not piloting the sand skink.
Hooray.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's probably bad.
All right, so we're going to move the sand skink here, and it's going to ram into some stuff.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I warned you about this. All right. So and you guys were going ludicrous speed, or excuse me, plaid.
Yeah.
Plaid speed.
Yep.
So that's pretty bad for you. That's going to be 8 plus 6 more is 14 damage to the sand skink for that impact.
So hardness plays into this, right?
Correct.
So we've got 5 as the base plus 2 for our popularity bonus, which is 7. So we only take 7 damage out of the 22. So that leaves us with 15. The sand skink is at bloodied level.
Yep. So the debris goes everywhere that you smash into, and you are no longer going at plaid speed because you lost a bunch of speed when you...
We've downgraded to a nice tartan.
All right. So that all happens on Bob's turn. Then the junk cycles. They will follow. They also have to make piloting checks.
I think they fail.
The one that starts smoking just starts turning around in circles. It seems to be caught in just a loop, and which is weird because it's just one wheel. So it's just one wheel, and he evidently can't steer out of it. And then the dregs wreck comes by and just clips him, and he goes skidding off and smashes into something. And then he says, "I'm okay." And then a Zapparator on board the dregs wreck shoots him.
Classic.
Mean.
The other 2 junk cycles do stay within range, though, and they're going to shoot at you while unsteadily steering their vehicles. They're going to shoot at, let's say, Skritic.
Question real quick before you roll that. Do I get a saving throw or anything to this gas?
So you got your saving throw initially, and it has a duration.
Okay.
Yep. So you will act again someday, I'm sure.
Okay, I'm sure.
Saving every turn. What is this, 4th edition?
Actually, wait a minute. I say this, and then I go read the effect, and it's a full action, so you do get a save right now.
Okay, what do I save? What do I roll to throw? Fortitude again? What is it, Fortitude again?
Fortitude, and you do get a +2 from your constructed being.
All right, so there's that. Plus 2 is 12. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, 12.
Good enough. You shake free of it at the end of your turn.
Yay. Oh, that wasn't funny at all. Running into things.
All right, so the junk cycle space goblins are going to shoot their unstable junk lasers at Skritic. Skritic, what's your EAC?
19.
And you have cover, so that's cool. But one of them still gets you anyway for 4 fire damage.
All right.
Always be immune to fire. Rule 1 of critical hit.
Then the dregs wreck. Like I said, it's going to clip that junk cycle out of the way and start gaining on you after your collision. That brings up everybody's favorite first-person plural colony being Amu.
Everyone's favorite 1,365,000 people.
Well, it worked once, so let's try this again. I'm a grapple the goblin next to me.
Do it.
There's a goblin next to me, right?
There is a goblin next to you. It's a doper.
That helps if I could type better.
It leans into the camera and says, I'm training to be a dental assistant, with its mouth full of canister teeth.
13.
Hit!
Oh, hey.
You sank his battleship.
And then we'll take a step away from it.
Sure.
To keep it at arm's length.
At tendril of coral length.
Yeah.
You can turn those into arms.
And in fact, currently am.
Great. Anything else, Amu?
Nope, we're good.
Cool. So that goblin struggles in its confines with its giant head and its weird teeth sticking out right next to Quentin. Quentin, what do you do?
There's a teeth goblin right next to me with his teeth.
Oh, yeah. Yep, one of those tooth goblins.
One of those things.
Goblins.
You're
I'm
also
probably
being
too-
chased by, like, a bunch of stuff.
Right. I'm probably too small to grab him and throw him overboard.
I mean, they're pretty small, too.
So what does the ship following us look like? Is it something that I could throw him into, like, the gears and muck up their ship?
Well, it would be more likely to impale itself on the several bone spurs and spikes, covering every surface. But sure, it could be crushed underneath its massive tank-like treads. Gears, probably not so much.
So how many goblins are still on our scooter?
One.
Just the one. And this is him.
Yes. And there's
Yes.
also 2 speeder bikes.
Right behind
Two
us.
speeder bikes right behind you, and the dregs wreck not far behind that.
I'm going to try and throw him at a speeder bike.
Oh, sure. There's one right here that you could do that with.
I'm going to try to use that to diplomacy.
Sorry?
It's the kind of diplomacy that John Cena practices every Thursday night on the UPN.
Oh, no. I've knocked over the camera. Okay, so I am very unclear what action you're trying to take.
Are you making
Well,
an attack or an intimidate check?
I presume that if I'm actually going to throw him, that would be an athletics check. Does that sound good?
So,
No, it's probably some sort of attack roll.
Okay.
yeah, there are combat maneuvers in Starfinder. I will warn you that, unfortunately, this is one thing I don't particularly like about the system, that combat maneuvers are hard. Now, these guys have particularly low armor classes, so that might make up for it. But in general, the difficulty is based off of their KAC, and then it gets a significant, I think it's +8 to their KAC to resist the combat maneuver.
Well, that sounds complicated. What if I just shot a flame pistol right in his face?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's do that. Do I get, can I target his face, or is that something inappropriate? You can't do that with this system.
You can say you're doing that all you want.
18 to attack.
Boom, right in the face, right like you said. It's remarkable.
Awesome. Fire face.
How much damage?
That's a good question. Does 2d4 plus 1 sound right? I'm looking at this, and I think it says 2d4. It's 1d4.
You're shooting with a laser pistol? It looks like 1d4 plus 2.
No, it's a fire pistol, so it's 1d4 plus 1.
1d4 plus 1. Yep.
6. Wait, no,
Hey!
I did that wrong.
That's
Nope,
2d4.
that's not right. Try again.
4.
Here we go.
I
Hey,
still like
so
6 better.
between that and the knife wound in the back, boom, it goes toppling off the side of the sand skink. Amu, do you release your hold on this now dead goblin's head?
Oof. Yeah.
You're like, sorry. It gets run over by the junk cycle.
Gonna save that as a trophy.
You'll probably have plenty more opportunities.
Burnt rat hair.
All right. And then the head's honcho will say, in its weird double voice, "Release the mutie!" And from a cage aboard the Dregswreck. Oh yeah, there's a cage on board this thing. Obviously, didn't describe it before.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sure, yeah, we saw that.
Emerges a space goblin that is 8 feet tall, has a head, about 3 meters tall, head a solid meter wide, and has 3 arms. And it will launch itself. It actually has really spindly legs and arms on top of a weird hulking body, but it launches itself from the Dregswreck aboard the Sandskank, and then will immediately attack Quentin.
Wait, if 3 feet is a meter, how long is 3 arms?
Punching you in the face!
I don't have a face. I have a display. Thank you.
And one of its arms is a little vestigial arm that's growing out of its armpit that it uses to like pick up objects. The other 2 arms have been modified, so you're being attacked by its chainsaw arm.
Oh no! Look out!
What's your? Oh no! Never mind. I don't need to ask. You're hit. You're hit for 10 slashing damage, Quentin.
And that goes against my stamina points now.
That's correct.
All
so
right.
it starts making some inroads on that quadra-titanium.
This is inappropriate.
All right. And that brings up Vangi.
So Vangi will holster the nozzle of the flamethrower, look at this hulking monster, like put her kind of clawed hands out, crack her knuckles, and say like, "Now this is what I'm talking about," and grab her war pike and move to like right diagonal, exactly, because she's got a reach weapon. So and she's gonna stab it.
Great. Go ahead and make that attack roll.
Will do.
Stab it in the heart.
So this is using your pike.
Yeah, my pike. So a 17 against its KAC.
That hits.
All right. Nice. Max damage for 17 damage.
Wow, 17. That's a lot. Now, this thing can take that and still keep going. So you smash into it with your tactical pike, and it takes it on one of its 3 shoulders. And it cuts deeply, and it's bleeding some sort of ichor. Not normal goblin blood. This thing has weird blood. It doesn't look healthy. This abomination. And it stares at you and smiles, and it has way too many teeth, and they're like in rows of teeth, like a shark. And you can tell that it's basically saying challenge accepted.
She will nod and grin.
And then a bunch of these zapparators will go from the Dregswreck. They're in range to start shooting, though they don't have clean shots, so they're all going to shoot wildly. We'll say they're going for Skritic and Hecubino because they're in the back. Skritic, 2 shots at you. Your EAC again, my friend?
19.
Wow, that is really high. That's quite good. You were missed.
Okay.
You were missed once only due to cover, for what it's worth. But still, you are still missed. And then Hecubino.
EAC?
Yes.
14.
14. All right. Well, you are going to be critically hit.
Oh, good.
That's the name of the show.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the show without it, right? So we also get to learn fun things about Starfinder critical effects. So on a critical hit, you roll your damage twice, which is cool. So you're going to take 5 fire damage, Hecubino. Okay. And then it also has a burn condition, because each weapon, like Sam used earlier, the line special ability of the Efreet class burner, well, their junk lasers can light you on fire. So you now have the burning condition. You are on fire, and at the start of each of your turns, before you take any actions, you take the damage that I'll roll. I'll roll some damage, and you'll take it. And you, at the end of each round that you are burning, you can attempt a reflex save to remove the condition.
Okay. I would like to spend a resolve point to use share pain.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Was that
so? I spend a resolve point as a reaction to shift some of the pain back onto the foe, unless the foe succeeds at a will save. Reduce the damage I take from the attack by my mystic level to a maximum of the attack's damage, and the foe takes an equal amount of damage. This is a mind-affecting pain effect.
Okay, what is the save DC of that?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Well, I rolled a 6, and it's a goblin, so they fail. But we can figure that out later. I think most of the time it uses what's called your class save DC, which would be the same as like your mystic spells, if it's coming from your class ability.
Yeah, so that would be like a 16 nowadays, I think. Yeah.
You reduce the damage by your mystic level, which is 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes 3. So it says, that actually really stings. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this to people. And the head honcho says, "Shut up, you! Get back to shooting." Okay. So then it's Hecubino's turn, actually.
Okay. So I try to put myself out at the end of the turn. Is that what's going on?
That's right. You can automatically end this turn by jumping into water, or end the burning condition. Yeah, but you get a free save at the end of your turn. And I would you can certainly try to roll around on the ground and smother the fire to get a +4 bonus on that save, but that'll take your full action to do so.
Okay. No.
It's the start of your turn, so you immediately take 3 fire damage. How does he play off being lit on fire for the cameras?
Well, because of the ability involved, Hecubino gets shot with a gout of flame, he covers himself, and then he just slowly puts his arms down, and his eyes are just glowing, and that's when the goblin gets a headache, and then from there he's just going to kind of
it starts manifesting burns all over its body.
Yeah, and just from that stance, Hecubino's just gonna turn his head and kind of at an unnatural angle, and from the junk pile, a carburetor is going to shoot out and hit and try and hit the mutant. I'm going to use telekinetic attack, I think it's called. Yeah, telekinetic projectile, which is a level 0 attack or spell.
All right.
And I just make an attack roll. And then if I hit, it's going to take a d6 of damage.
Sounds good.
That's a 12.
Up what a carburetor is. I mean, I know it's part of a part of a internal combustion engine, but yep, yes. That looks. I would not want to be hit with one of those. It definitely looks
it's a big thing.
Ouch. Okay, so you said that was
it's a 12 to hit. It's KAC, I'm guessing.
KAC. Unfortunately, this thing's pretty tough, and so it just lowers its head and it bounces harmlessly against its giant skull, and the carburetor goes zipping off into the distance.
Don't think I actually is the space behind me open?
Yes.
I'll take a step back.
You can move all the way back to shotgun if you wish, because you're not.
No, I'll just move one space back.
Okay.
Because that'll let people maneuver.
It's moving aboard the sand skank. Just to clarify, we've had a nice fun time of make this 5-foot step. It is climbing over bucket seats and the little bars that are on a Jeep, and you have to always be going up and over, and then somebody else is moving at the same time, and then somebody else is shooting a laser, and somebody else is getting blasted with laughing gas, and somebody else is using a flamethrower aboard. Oh, and my.
See, they think that's mighty funny.
Dog.
Funny, huh?
Those goblins sound exactly like a dog.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to move around. But after Hecubino bounces that off of that mutant's dome, that kind of at the end of that attack, it breaks like the concentration, and he's gonna jump around and like slap his arm, which is on fire, and actually literally blow at it, like to try to put himself out.
Nice. Why don't you give me a reflex saving throw?
Okay. Reflex is not my worst saving throw, but I still roll badly, so that's a 5.
Yeah, that will not do it. You're still blowing on yourself, and you're still very much on fire.
Okay.
All right. So, Skritic. There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is there's only one goblin aboard the Sandspeak. The bad news is it's got shark teeth, 3 arms, and is 3 times your size, and is next to you. All right, it's mostly bad news. But you are used to fighting opponents much larger than you, and you are clever, so what do you do?
I'm thinking, what can I do here?
Stab it in the face.
I think I probably want to try
in
to
the face.
take advantage of a trick. I'm trying to think would be a good thing to do. Pardon me. Let's see.
Kick him in the liver.
Is there enough people and things going on I can maybe just kind of scurry around the ship and stealth around my crewmates and catch them unawares?
Yeah, you can. You can scurry behind the. You've got this plasma cannon here. You got Quentin. I mean, since Quentin's the only other one really near the mutant, I would say between Quentin and the plasma cannon, you can get enough cover to try to make your trick attack using stealth. And the only possible downside would be that you'd be throwing Quentin in the way should anything bad happen.
Well, I don't see a downside here, so...
Hey! I do!
Well, then I'm going to roll stealth to try to trick that up.
I am not a potted plant, Senator.
Ooh, that's almost a crit fail, but not. 16, that's not going to hit 20 plus their challenge rating, I take it.
Unfortunately, no.
20 plus their challenge rating is the difficulty for that?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's your survival check, out of curiosity? Because obviously you can't it's not particularly easy to make a survival check right now, but just tell us what your mod is, out of curiosity, when you're making a trick attack.
14, and I think I also get, let me double check my specialization. Yeah, with a +4 bonus when trying to make a trick with a survival check.
So what would it be?
It'd be a total of 18 with the...
I see.
Yeah, so it's not... you don't have to feel that bad for him.
I need to survive.
I think he would have made that check on a 5 with survival. So, okay. Cool.
So
you do not succeed at your trick, but you still get to make your attack, right?
Yeah, I think I'll just do a stabby stab.
Cool.
Hope this works out okay. Okay.
That does not
12.
look like...
No.
That looks like you stab it with your survival knife, but its ribs its whole rib cage and abdomen is weirdly rubbery. So it's like the knife doesn't penetrate the skin. You actually stab it several times. And it towers over you and glares at you with its giant red eyes and shark tooth mouth and says, "That tickles."
Assistance, people. Help,
Bob, from the front seat. Do you have any assistance?
Maybe. So we ran into a pile of junk. Is our way blocked? Are we still moving forward? What's going on with the sandscape?
You you're moving forward, but you've slowed down, and you're basically in rough terrain if you don't make some fancy maneuvers. But you could, so like it's fine. You're not going to take a huge amount of damage from going over this. The sand skink is fortunately good at, running over obstacles.
Sure, but we're running at probably ludicrous speed at this point.
That's right.
Okay, here we go with a fancy maneuver Bob learned while driving a taxi on his own planet.
This is the one where you slam the guy into a nearby pile of junk?
No. So how far is that tank behind us?
Oh, it's pretty close. It's only a few meters.
Okay.
About one junk cycle's width apart from you.
All right. So
Bob, making the junk cycle between you and it really nervous.
Okay.
The rider of it.
All right. Bob is going to slam on the brake really hard for a second and yank the wheel so that the back end of the sand skink turns. So basically the pivot, the driver's seat pivots, and the whole sand skink swings around towards our left to the upper top part of the screen, so that we're swinging around all this garbage and getting into that open area. Nope, the other way.
This?
Yeah, but swing the back end around to the front.
Like this?
Yeah, but the other way, counterclockwise.
Clockwise.
Yes, so that then we are driving through that pass and around the corner backwards. And hopefully the way that the car turns has enough centrifugal force to throw this big guy off, because he's got one arm that's a big old chainsaw, you said, one little flimsy arm. I didn't see what the other arm is.
So the other arm is a grabber. It's actually like Amu's animal control thing, except it's a metal pincer at the end.
Okay, well,
clamps.
We're going to be driving backwards and hopefully throw that guy off as I maneuver backwards through the junkyard. We're driving at 5, so we're going to get a +4, no reduction.
Make your
piloting check.
I'm actually going to say you do take a -2 penalty for the terrain.
Okay, nat 20.
The stuff you ran into.
Nat
20. Okay, nat 20. Great. Well, that's good. So you wanted it to spin around?
Yeah, to spin around backwards, just the whole back end. I don't know if you've driven in a vehicle that is front heavy, but when you slam on the brakes, you know how it kind of fishtails. But this time it fishtails all the way around to where we're pointing. Literally, the front of the car is pointing to the bad guys, and I'm driving around all the wreckage backwards. And hopefully, the centrifugal force of swinging around throws that guy off.
Drifting Furious, Akaton.
So the good news is that all works, and it works like a charm. So you're now driving backwards, and you can see your opponents dead ahead of you. There's more good news. I will give you a free collision with this junk cycle. So roll your collision damage for the sand skink.
Okay, so let me look here on this sand skink. And that is EAC? No, let's see. Hold on.
Just roll the collision damage. I have to make a
3d8
to avoid it. Just like when they tried to collide with you, but you have successfully collided with them. So.
Okay, 20.
Yeah, boom. So you can also knock one of the junk cycles completely off the field of battle as part of this maneuver. Then everyone aboard the sand skink, except for Bob. Everyone aboard the sand skink who is standing.
Me?
No one's seated, right? Everyone's been moving around and shooting things
no
and stuff
one's
like
seated.
that.
I'm hovering.
At least 2 of us can't actually sit.
That's true.
So this is where seatbelts would come in handy. So I'm going to say that everyone except for Bob aboard the sand skink needs a reflex save, but that Bob can shout out a warning as part of this action.
Hold on, everybody.
And that gives you a plus. You rolled a natural 20, so everyone braces themselves. We'll say a +4 bonus to your reflex saves, except for the goblin mutant, who does not get such a bonus.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Oh.
All right. So looking good, Quentin. Looking good, Amu. Looking good, Skritic.
Yeah, there should be another +4 on that. But
Yep, exactly. I figured. And then Vangi and Hecubino also good enough. Vangi, you basically stagger. You exactly made it.
Nice.
So you're almost thrown, and you have to like catch one of the. There's like bungee cords and some of those like cloth, not cloth, but like the I don't know what they're called, but they're like reinforced cloth that you would use to climb a mountain.
Yeah,
like
she'll
the
use her
handhold.
prehensile tail to grab onto one of those.
Great. Now, if physics, I don't. It's been a while since I've been in physics class, but I think the force of this would actually be driving the goblin in this direction.
Yeah, whatever way would throw him out. No, actually, the way that I described it, he would have thrown him.
Direction, not the direction you
want it to be.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to tumble over Skritic. Go to this space right here. And it will be hanging on the side of the sandskink, running into various debris. But it has its grabber arm has stuck through like a little netting on the sandskink, and it has also rolled Skritic under that arm. So Skritic is really close to falling off himself, despite managing to make the save. He kind of got caught as collateral damage from the mutant. So it is hanging onto the side of the vehicle, bouncing on the ground periodically, and while its metal pincer arm grasps for better purchase.
Okay, so I'm driving backwards at 5 speed, normal speed, or whatever it is, ludicrous speed, dodging all the stuff and telling people to hang on. And I scream, "Someone shoot those guys in front of us, and someone clear a path behind us."
All right, the junk cycle is immediately following you, and it races forward. So it realizes that the dregs wreck is right behind it and not about to stop. So it's about to be crushed in between the two of you. So this guy is going to leap from his cycle, and now he's no longer a junk cycle rider. He is just a regular goblin zapperator. But he breathes a sigh of relief as the cycle gets crushed underneath the treads of the dregs wreck, which actually then goes to try to ram you from behind. Well, actually, now you're head-to-head ramming, but you're going in reverse. So why don't you give another piloting check there, Bob?
All right.
Still net +2, basically.
+2? Okay. So 30?
Oh, geez. Yeah. So you're able to avoid, it wants to just smash its front grill into yours and, dig in with its wide frame and treads and kind of lift you up and maybe even knock you, go in underneath the frame of the sandskink and take you guys off the ground. So you successfully avoid that. How do you avoid it?
As it starts to come up closer, I'm just going to do a little shimmy. I'm going to dodge around a rather unexpected boulder right there in the road, or in the path behind us, and they didn't see it because they're too close. They're bumper to bumper with us, and so they didn't see that, and it bumped them at the last minute to where they didn't get their hooks into us.
Awesome.
They didn't get their cow catcher into us.
Amu, you're up next.
All right. How close is the other vehicle?
Like right on us.
Right on top of you. I don't know if you can see, but it's like about a meter away.
Am I within range to grapple the driver?
Sure. It looks like there are a bunch of little zapparators there, and one of them is likely driving it. So yeah, you could grab it.
All right. Let's solve this problem. 24.
Yeah, you grab him. So you have successfully grappled the creature, driving another vehicle. They're going to try to shove him out of the way so that they can take over, but that'll be on their turn.
Does the 24 happen to be 13 higher than their...
Oh my.
Because if it's 13 higher, then it's not just grappled, it's pinned.
So you've got him pinned. What does that mean? I mean, besides, I know what the condition means, but what do you like lock him in place right against the wheel to make it difficult for the rest of them?
I do not know what the condition means. Can we talk about that?
We certainly can, but first I want Amu to describe what he's trying, the effect he's trying to create.
Yeah, we'll try and lock him against the wheel, like you said. So the end titans pull him into the wheel and just hold him there so no one else can actually get at it.
Perfect. I like it. So, by the way, Rodrigo, pinned means they cannot move, they're flat-footed, and they take all the same penalties that grappled takes, like to armor class and attack rolls and reflex saves and a bunch of other stuff, but the penalty is -4. So, they're pretty hosed.
They also cannot take any action that requires the use of any of their limbs. But can always attempt to free themselves.
But wouldn't that use a limb?
They can always attempt that action. But its special tap dancing action that I had prepared, it cannot take.
Right.
Great. So that's pretty cool. Way to grapple the driver of another vehicle from your vehicle, Amu. Quentin, everything, the whole world spun around, but you're actually fine with that. You just took your gyroscope, internal stabilizers kicked in. And
also, like, I feel like we pivoted pretty much around Quentin, so it's like it probably like he literally did not move at all, like relative to the buggy.
He truly is the center of the universe.
Yep.
Talk to me about what a small spheroid robot could do to sever the grasping arm of a mutant being dragged along by the sand skink.
So there's a lot of things you could do. You could try to, shoot it or, actually cut it. But it occurs to you that this thing is super strong. Like it's got weird spindly arms, but it looks tough. And you've watched knives literally bounce off of it. So maybe a direct, physical attack is not your best avenue. You've yet to see any evidence of it being particularly savvy. And you wouldn't be surprised if some of the mutations around that thing's skull aren't exactly healthy for its brain. So you might be able to manipulate it, or trick it somehow.
I'm going to try and convince it that it needs to let go.
What do you say, Quentin?
I'm going to bluff it.
In your robot voice.
Quentin does not have a robot voice. Quentin has a very pleasing IVR voice. Press 1 to make the creature fall. Press 2 to make the creature explode. To speak to a representative, just hang on for the rest of your natural life, suckers. Okay, so, yes, God, what could you say to convince
attempt a bluff check, but yeah, you will have to make it at least theoretically plausible that that's something it would want to do.
Oh no, you're going to be impaled on a piece of steel if you don't let go. But I'm going to say it in Acatonian and presume he understands. No, that would be bad. I'm going to say it in basic. Duck or something.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and roll that bluff check?
I'm going to bluff.
Bluff, bluff, bluff.
How's a 19? A blue bluffy muff bluff.
Yeah, so it's like surprised that you're showing interest in it, and it looks at you, and its eyes go from red to green, and it has like little pupils, and it says, "Robot Ball looks out for Mutie. Robot Ball is Mutie's friend." And it lets go and then is immediately run over by the dregs wreck and impaled.
Oh, God! Why do you do this to me? It's late at night. You can't play with my heartstrings like that.
Hey,
I'm the empathetic one.
You picked Envoy.
Yeah.
That's true. I did. Oh. Quentin's tiny mechanical heart breaks for a moment.
And Skritic, you're left to your own devices, but it lets go. So fortunately, you're able to stay aboard. Through no fault of Quentin.
That is so hurtful.
All right. So the heads honcho has realized that their time is almost up, and they have but one trick left to pull.
They bonk their head glasses together.
It says, "Prep the snot rocket!" And at this, from a nearby, convenient, just off-screen location, a large flatbed trailer is rolled out with a huge rocket engine loaded onto the bed. A goblin wearing a tactical helmet and enormous goggles emerges and starts to clamber up the truck. There is musical accompaniment from a goblin on the truck as it starts playing a synthesizer dramatically. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun. While other nearby gobos stand at some weird version of attention and give a smattering of salutes. And then Goggles sits atop the giant rocket, straps himself in with various clamps and belts and bungee cables, opens a panel, evidently to control the rocket directly. Goggles wipes the snot dripping down its nose onto his chest dismissively, then grins as he slams his hand down on the control panel and the rocket engines ignite. So, this rocket is a projectile attack coming at you guys. If it hits, it's going to deal a lot of damage. The good news is it can be interfered with while in motion, and it's going to take a round to get to you.
Cool.
Yep. Vangie.
Well, she's gonna look briefly disappointed at the mutant falling off the thing, then turn around and look at this rocket and be like, "Oh, that does not look good," and move back over to the railgun and try to fire it at the incoming rocket.
Absolutely. Go ahead and make your attack. You're actually at the railgun right now.
Oh, great. All right. Yeah, I forgot that's where it was. Sweet. Then
keep track
here's
for this little skink.
17 to hit.
Yep, that's gonna hit. Roll damage.
Sweet. Let me double check the damage on that thing again. It's 44 plus my +3. Nice. 12 damage.
12 damage. So you start shooting away. There's like a little glass panel that was protecting Goggles. That's gone. The whole front of the rocket's gone. You're just blasting it. It's full of bullet holes. Wires are going everywhere. Goggles takes a shot to the shoulder, but buckles down and continues to press on the button and hold some set of basic controls together that seems to be steering. So you have done something, but you have not stopped it yet.
All right. She's like, guys, could you use some more help?
Do you have, Starfinder have a thing like in Dungeons and Dragons where you get a bonus action and you could take another attack?
Like an action point?
Yeah, like an action point, yeah.
No.
Boo. I hate this game.
You can take a full attack, and like anybody can do that, but you're penalized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know if she had an opportunity to, if we had action points, to take another one of those railgun attacks.
And I did not think to make a full attack.
That is okay. You hit for a bunch of damage, so it is not a bad action.
No, yeah.
Vangie doesn't have to feel bad because any action in which she gets to use a railgun is a pretty good action.
Oh yeah, she feels great.
These zapparators are all going to unload on Bob and Amu. So, 2 attacks at Bob. Bob, what's your EAC?
My EAC is... let me find it. EAC is 13.
You'll be hit once for 3 fire damage.
Okay, now, hold on. It looks like I have Under my armor class, it looks like I resist 5. Is that correct? Are you also seeing that?
Resist 5 to what?
Fire damage.
Ooh, nice. Good work.
So you said I took how much?
Well, it was going to be 3, but now it's 0.
0. Okay, cool.
Neat. What gives you fire resistance? I don't remember.
I think it. I don't know what. It just shows up here under my armor class as resist, and it says 5 fire. And I don't know if it is my energy shield or what it is.
Asbestos pants.
Could be.
We're going to start making up reasons why you have 5 fire resist, and I like the asbestos pants so far.
Oh, I do have an S-Tech suit. So maybe
that does it.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, if you blew a bunch of your money on good armor, that might come from there, or it might be a class feature.
Yeah.
It's true.
Although 5 from a class feature at level 3 seems like a lot.
Maybe it's a really good class.
Yeah, I mean, could be.
So one of the goblins shoots right at the front window of the sand skink, and bizarrely enough, the glass bounces the laser back on it, and it hits itself in the face and goes flying off.
Ha ha ha.
And one of them is still pinned, courtesy of Amu. So that is it for their turns. Hecubino.
Use your head, Hecubino.
I will attempt to command the snot rocket.
That's not a sentence you hear every day.
Assuming that I am within 30 feet of it.
Yep, you are. Almost exactly.
Okay. So then, yes, I am going to give it the command flee. So the target moves away from you as quickly and directly as possible for 1 round, taking no other actions and provoking reactions such as attacks of opportunity for his movement as normal. Unless for some reason that's not going to get him to turn around and go somewhere else.
Okay. You can certainly give the goblin commanding that rocket that command.
Okay.
You are casting a spell, and you are in melee with 1 goblin.
Oh, then can I shift back?
Yeah, you can. You'll be at the edge of your range, but you can do it. Yep.
Okay. All right. Let me spend the spell slot. And then it's a save, so it's got to hit a 16.
It does not. So Goggles rips off its goggles and caterwauls off the edge of the rocket and dives to safety. The rocket is now unmanned, so it is going to go somewhere.
That's good.
It means if we provided Bob axe before the rocket would hit us, if we get out of the way, we could maybe work that.
Skritic, what do you do? You're up.
Hop back to the plasma cannon and try to shoot the snot rocket.
Oh no, the plasma cannon is rear mounted, which means it can only fire it basically forward since you guys are in reverse.
Oh, I forgot we. Okay. Oh,
You could clear a path behind us.
You could also presumably push Vangie off of the
railgun and also fire if you wanted.
For sure.
I would definitely give away my reaction for that.
Okay, sure.
Where do you want to go, Vangie? Near the goblin or away from the goblin?
I'll go near the goblin.
Okay, so Skritic, you crawl up and tap Vangie on, I don't know. Where do you tap her?
Shoulder.
You're not tall enough to reach the shoulder. Nope. Try again.
Okay, if I'm climbing it, I don't know.
You can climb on top of the railgun to tap her on the shoulder.
Yeah, I assume we have like trusses right over the. It's like there's like a cage to the buggy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you can like jungle gym your way there.
I'll do that.
Cool.
Great.
And, plop down in front of the rail cannon and let fire.
Are you firing at the rocket, which is now unmanned, or are you firing at the Dregs wreck?
I guess I should probably do the Dregs wreck.
Nah, I hit the rocket.
The rocket? Okay, I'll do the rocket.
Yeah, see if you can
get that out of the situation.
See if you can have it smash into the other vehicle.
Grand total of 8, 2 on the die.
Unfortunately, your shots go wild, and everybody ducks as you just start shooting the rail. This is, I think, your first attack with a railgun. It's very powerful, but yeah, it's got some recoil to it too. So I just, you're tiny relative to this thing, so you're firing it, but it's also firing you. You're kind of flapping along in the wind as you're going backwards, hanging onto this thing for dear life.
Yes.
Bob, it is up to you.
All right. I am going to see if I can swerve out of the way.
You just had.
What's that?
You should use that idea you just had.
The one where I swerve out of the way to try to get away from the rocket?
No, the one where we put the sledge in between us and the rocket.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because the sledge is currently attached to us via grapple.
Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. Yeah, so I suppose if I swerve, then that would make Amu swerve, and since he's grabbed a hold of that or pinned down that one guy, it would probably make that vehicle swerve right in between the path of the rocket and us.
That sounds plausible. It could also either break that pole, fling Amu off of the sand skink, or, decapitate the goblin whose head he's holding. But let's not think negatively. I'm
so
more
many fun
thinker.
options.
Okay.
So yeah, let's try it.
So
how is decapitation a loss? That's what I don't understand.
Am I doing this with a +2 or a +4?
We'll say you're doing this with a +4 at this point, but this is a hard check. Harder than your typical piloting check.
Ooh, 17 + 4 is 21.
Ooh, that is still barely good enough.
Oh, good.
And with that, the Dregs wreck is moved into the path of the snot rocket. The head's honcho turns to itself, and one of them says, "It's been fun," and the other one says, "I've always hated you." And then the rocket explodes, blasting the goblins off of it, and the Dreg Rex goes up in flames. There is only this one goblin left aboard, who was the one that miraculously jumped from its junk cycle on board, and it'll just be like, "No harm, no foul," and then jump off itself and bounce on its skull to. It'll actually say, "Good luck with the race."
And at this point, I'll slam on the brakes and again do a fishtail so that we're all kind of turned sideways so that we can all see the exploding wreckage as we stop and look. And maybe Quentin flies off really quick to get a nice wide shot of all of us looking at this. And we see probably Vengi and Hekubino high-fiving. And then I just put on the gas and we drive off to the next place.
You hightail it out of here, and as you do, you see your competitors are also exiting their section of this scrap heap, and you can see the finish line is in sight. You are very close to the end. The crowd is going wild. Everyone is ready to see who will win the first race of Drifters.
Nice. All right, everybody. That's where we're going to wrap it up this week. Some hot goblin action. Always, I love the smell of burning goblins in the afternoon.
Never say hot goblin action
They're
again.
on fire. They're on fire. No. What are they going to be? They're going to be hot goblins.
Never say that again.
Anyway, everyone, thanks for tuning in this week. Here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2021 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.
This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.